Why humans fear rejection. There is a moment that almost every human being experiences at some point in life. You are in a conversation. Maybe it is a group of friends, co-workers, or even strangers. Someone asks a question, and you decide to answer. You share your opinion, a story, or a joke. For a brief second after you speak, something inside your mind becomes very quiet. You begin to watch the reactions of the people around you. You look for signs, a smile, a nod, a laugh, any small signal that tells you your words were accepted. But sometimes those signals never appear. Instead, the room becomes strangely quiet. Someone changes the subject. Someone looks at their phone. Someone simply says nothing at all. In that moment, something uncomfortable begins to appear inside your mind. You may feel a slight tension in your chest. Your thoughts begin to move faster, and suddenly a question appears. Did I say something wrong? Moments like this reveal something important about human psychology. Humans do not simply enjoy acceptance. They deeply fear rejection. Rejection is one of the most powerful emotional experiences the human mind can feel. It does not always appear dramatically. Often it appears in small moments. Being ignored in a conversation, being excluded from a group, receiving criticism, not receiving a reply. Sometimes rejection is direct. Someone clearly disagrees with you. Someone openly criticizes you. But more often, rejection is subtle. A lack of attention, a lack of response, a change in tone. Yet even subtle rejection can trigger strong emotional reactions. People may replay the moment in their minds. They analyze what happened. They search for explanations. Why did that happen? What did I do wrong? Why didn't they respond? To understand why rejection affects people so strongly, we must look far back into human history. For most of human existence, survival depended on living in groups. These groups were small, often no more than 20 or 30 individuals. Inside these small tribes, cooperation was essential. People hunted together. They shared food. They protected one another from predators. They helped raise children. They passed down knowledge about the environment. In this world, belonging to the group was not simply comforting. It was necessary for survival. A person alone in the wilderness faced enormous risks. Predators could attack without warning. Food could be difficult to find. Injury or illness could quickly become fatal without help from others. But inside a tribe, survival became far more likely. Members supported each other. They shared resources. They defended one another from threats. Because of this, the human brain evolved to treat belonging as extremely important and rejection as extremely dangerous. Being rejected from the group did not simply mean hurt feelings. It could mean losing protection, losing shared food, losing social support. In extreme cases, it could mean being forced to survive alone. For ancient humans, that could mean death. Because of this reality, the brain developed powerful systems designed to detect rejection quickly. Humans became highly sensitive to social signals. A slight change in someone's tone of voice, a brief expression of disapproval, a moment of silence. All of these signals could indicate something important, the possibility of rejection. The brain learned to react quickly to these signals. It created emotional discomfort. It triggered anxiety. It encouraged individuals to repair social bonds, to apologize, to adjust their behavior, to regain acceptance. These reactions were not weaknesses. They were survival mechanisms. They helped humans maintain relationships that were essential for survival. Even today, the same ancient systems still operate inside the modern human brain. The world has changed dramatically. Most people no longer depend on tribes for survival. Cities contain millions of people. Technology connects individuals across the globe. Yet the psychological systems inside the brain remain largely the same. When someone feels rejected, the brain still reacts as if belonging may be threatened. That is why rejection can feel so powerful, even when the situation itself is relatively small. A comment online, a message left unanswered, a moment of exclusion. These small events can trigger reactions that feel much larger than the situation itself. Because the brain is not only reacting to the present moment, it is reacting through systems that evolved thousands of years ago. Systems designed to protect one of the most important needs in human life, the need to belong. One of the most surprising discoveries in modern psychology is that rejection does not only feel painful emotionally, it can actually resemble physical pain inside the brain. Neuroscientists studying social behavior have discovered that when people experience rejection, certain regions of the brain become active. Interestingly, some of these same regions are involved when the body experiences physical injury. This means that the brain does not completely separate social pain from physical pain. In many ways, it treats them similarly. When someone breaks a bone, the body sends signals of pain to the brain to warn that something is wrong. Pain encourages the person to protect the injured area and avoid further damage. But when someone experiences rejection, the brain also sends warning signals, not physical signals in the body, but emotional signals. Feelings of embarrassment, feelings of sadness, feelings of anxiety. These emotional responses act as psychological alarms. They tell the brain that something important may be at risk. In ancient environments, rejection from the group could threaten survival. So the brain evolved to treat social rejection as something serious. Even today, those systems still exist. When people feel rejected, their minds begin to search for explanations. They replay the moment. They analyze the conversation. They ask themselves questions. What did I do wrong? Did I say something strange? Do they dislike me? Sometimes these thoughts become repetitive. The brain attempts to solve the problem of rejection by understanding what caused it. This is why people sometimes remember moments of embarrassment for years. Even small social mistakes can stay in memory for a very long time. The brain stores these experiences as lessons designed to prevent future rejection. This sensitivity to rejection also influences how people behave. Many individuals begin avoiding situations where rejection might occur. They may hesitate to share opinions. They may hesitate to speak in front of groups. They may hesitate to approach strangers. The fear of rejection can quietly shape behavior. For example, imagine someone considering asking another person on a date. The possibility of rejection immediately appears in their mind. What if they say no? What if it becomes awkward? What if people find out? Because rejection feels so uncomfortable, many people avoid taking the risk. The same pattern appears in many areas of life. Someone may hesitate to apply for a job. Someone may hesitate to share creative work. Someone may hesitate to express honest feelings. The fear of rejection acts as a protective system. It attempts to prevent situations where social pain might occur. But sometimes, this protection becomes limiting. Avoiding rejection can also mean avoiding opportunity. It can mean avoiding growth, and it can mean avoiding experiences that could lead to meaningful relationships. Interestingly, rejection does not always produce the same reaction in everyone. Some people respond to rejection by withdrawing. They become quieter. They avoid social situations. They attempt to protect themselves from future pain. But other people respond very differently. Instead of withdrawing, they become motivated. They try harder. They improve their skills. They attempt to prove themselves. History contains many examples of individuals who transformed rejection into motivation. Writers who were rejected by publishers again and again. Artists whose work was ignored for years. Entrepreneurs whose ideas were dismissed before eventually succeeding. In these cases, rejection became a powerful force. Not a signal to stop, but a signal to grow stronger. This difference in reaction reveals something important. Rejection itself is not the only factor that shapes outcomes. How people interpret rejection matters just as much. If rejection is interpreted as proof of failure, it can destroy confidence. But if rejection is interpreted as feedback or misalignment, it can become useful. Sometimes, rejection simply means that the environment is not the right one, the wrong audience, the wrong moment, the wrong group. Understanding this can transform how people respond to rejection. Instead of seeing rejection as a personal judgment, they begin to see it as information that helps guide them toward better environments, better opportunities, better relationships. This shift in perspective does not remove the emotional discomfort of rejection. The brain will still react. The emotional system will still activate. But understanding the psychology behind rejection can reduce its power. Because once people understand why rejection hurts, they can begin responding to it more consciously. Instead of letting rejection define their identity, they begin seeing it as a natural part of human social life. Every person experiences rejection at some point. Every idea will not be accepted. Every environment will not feel welcoming, and that is perfectly normal. Because rejection is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it is simply a sign that you are in the wrong place. Another important truth about rejection is that it often says more about the environment than about the individual. People naturally assume that rejection is a judgment of their worth. When someone is criticized, ignored, or excluded, the first instinct is often self-blame. They ask themselves questions like, what did I do wrong? Why am I not good enough? Why do they not like me? But in many situations, rejection is not a reflection of personal value at all. It is a reflection of compatibility. Different groups value different qualities. Different communities admire different traits. An idea that seems strange in one environment may be celebrated in another. History provides countless examples of this pattern. Many writers faced repeated rejection before their work was published. Many artists struggled for years before their creations were recognized. Many innovators were dismissed before their ideas eventually changed the world. At the time, rejection may have felt personal, but in reality, the problem was not always the individual. The problem was often the environment, the wrong audience, the wrong expectations, the wrong moment in history. Understanding this concept can dramatically change the way people interpret rejection. Instead of asking, what is wrong with me? A different question appears. Is this the right place for me? Sometimes rejection simply means that a person has not yet found the environment where their abilities are valued. Every social group operates according to invisible rules. These rules determine what behaviors are rewarded and what behaviors are rejected. In one environment, creativity may be admired. In another environment, creativity may be ignored. In one group, independence may be respected. In another group, independence may be criticized. Because of this, rejection often reveals differences in values rather than flaws in character. Once people understand this, rejection begins to lose some of its emotional power. It becomes less of a personal attack and more of a signal that the environment may not be the right one. Another important psychological shift occurs when individuals stop expecting universal approval. Humans often assume that success means being accepted by everyone, but this expectation is unrealistic. No idea will be accepted by every person. No personality will appeal to every group. No path will receive universal approval. Even the most admired individuals in history faced criticism and rejection. Scientists whose discoveries were mocked, artists whose work was misunderstood, leaders whose decisions were attacked. Rejection is not a rare experience. It is a normal part of participating in social life. Understanding this reality can be liberating. When people stop expecting approval from everyone, they begin focusing on something more meaningful, finding the environments where they truly belong, the communities where their values are shared, the relationships where they are genuinely understood. In these environments, acceptance does not need to be forced. It appears naturally. Another important element of overcoming the fear of rejection is developing internal stability. People who rely entirely on external approval often experience emotional ups and downs. Confidence rises when approval appears. Confidence falls when rejection appears. But individuals who develop strong internal values operate differently. They measure themselves according to their own standards. Did I act honestly? Did I do my best? Did I stay true to my values? These questions provide a form of stability that external approval cannot. Because external approval is unpredictable. Other people's reactions will always change. Opinions shift. Trends change. Groups evolve. But personal values can remain consistent. When individuals build their confidence around these internal standards, rejection becomes easier to handle. It still hurts. The emotional reaction does not disappear completely, but the experience no longer defines their identity. Instead of interpreting rejection as proof of failure, they interpret it as part of the process of finding the right path. Sometimes, rejection is simply redirection, a signal that a different environment may be more aligned with who they truly are. In the end, the human fear of rejection is deeply rooted in our evolutionary past. For thousands of years, belonging meant survival. Rejection meant danger. The brain evolved to react strongly to any signal that belonging might be threatened. But the modern world is different. Rejection is rarely life-threatening. It is simply part of the complex social environments humans navigate every day. Understanding the psychology behind rejection does not eliminate the feeling entirely, but it changes the way people interpret it. Instead of seeing rejection as a verdict on their worth, they begin to see it as information. Information about compatibility, information about environment, information about where they truly belong. And sometimes rejection plays an important role in helping people discover the places where they are genuinely accepted. Because the goal of life is not to be accepted by everyone. The goal is to find the people and environments where acceptance happens naturally, where your voice is heard, where your presence is valued, where you do not have to constantly prove that you deserve to belong. When people find those places, the fear of rejection begins to lose its power, and social life becomes less about seeking approval and more about building genuine connection. There is one final idea about rejection that many people only realize later in life. Rejection does not always close a door. Sometimes it reveals which doors were never meant to open in the first place. When people are young, they often believe acceptance is something they must constantly earn. They try to fit into groups. They try to say the right things. They try to behave in ways that will be approved by others. This effort often comes from a very natural desire, the desire to belong. But when belonging becomes dependent on constantly adjusting who you are, something begins to change inside the mind. Instead of expressing genuine thoughts, people begin filtering themselves. Instead of speaking honestly, they say what they think others want to hear. Instead of exploring their true interests, they pursue the interests that receive approval. In the short term, this strategy can reduce rejection. But in the long term, it can create a different kind of problem, a loss of authenticity. When individuals spend too much energy avoiding rejection, they slowly disconnect from their own identity. They become experts at reading the reactions of others, but they forget how to listen to themselves. Ironically, this constant effort to avoid rejection can make social life more exhausting, because approval must be constantly maintained. One wrong word, one unpopular opinion, one moment of disagreement, and the fear of rejection returns again. But people who eventually become comfortable with rejection often discover something different. They stop trying to control every reaction around them. They accept that disagreement is inevitable. They accept that not everyone will understand them. They accept that some environments simply are not meant for them. This acceptance changes the entire experience of rejection. Instead of seeing rejection as a threat, it becomes a filter, a way of identifying which people, ideas, and environments truly align with who they are. Think about how friendships develop. The deepest friendships rarely form because two people try to impress each other. They form because both individuals feel comfortable being themselves. The same principle applies to communities, creative work, and personal goals. Authenticity attracts the right connections, even if it also attracts rejection from the wrong ones. And this is where the fear of rejection begins to lose its power. Because once a person understands that rejection is not always negative, the emotional weight changes. Rejection no longer means failure. It means clarity. Clarity about which environments are compatible. Clarity about which relationships are meaningful. Clarity about which paths truly reflect personal values. Of course, the emotional response to rejection never disappears completely. Humans are social creatures. We will always care about the reactions of others. We will always feel some discomfort when relationships break or opportunities disappear. But that discomfort does not need to control every decision. When people understand the psychology behind rejection, they gain a new perspective. They begin to see rejection as part of the process of finding where they truly belong. Every rejection narrows the search. Every rejection reveals something about alignment. Sometimes it reveals that a different direction might be more meaningful. Other times it reveals that persistence is necessary. But in both cases, rejection becomes information rather than identity. And that shift is powerful, because identity should not be built from the reactions of strangers. It should be built from values, from curiosity, from the willingness to explore the world honestly. In the end, the human fear of rejection is deeply rooted in our evolutionary past. For thousands of years, belonging meant survival. Rejection meant danger. The brain evolved to treat social exclusion as a serious threat. But the modern world is different. Rejection is rarely life-threatening. It is simply part of navigating complex social environments. Understanding this does not eliminate rejection, but it transforms the way people experience it. Instead of avoiding rejection at all costs, individuals begin focusing on something more meaningful, living honestly, expressing ideas freely, building relationships that are based on genuine understanding, because the goal of life is not to be accepted by everyone. The goal is to find the places where acceptance happens naturally, where your ideas are heard, where your presence is valued, where you no longer feel the need to constantly prove that you deserve to belong. And sometimes the only path to those places is through rejection itself.